Plasterboard, like this, is a very common building material now, and it's very common to find walls like this in your house that are made from plasterboard and studs. And studs are the wooden supports that run from the floor to the ceiling. So you can tell it's a stud wall just by knocking it. You can clearly hear that it's hollow. You have to be careful when you're fixing to a stud position wall because you can get pipes or cables running down the back of the plasterboard. So you have to use your common sense and just make sure that there's no pipes or cables there first. There's quite a few different ways of fixing to a stud position wall, so I'm going to show you a few different ways of fixing to a stud position wall that's been made with plasterboard and studs. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the actual studs using some magnets, and these are neodymium magnets and they're very powerful. And whenever you use these magnets, you should always put a pair of safety glasses on, because they can chip quite easily. So the first thing we're going to do is find the stud. So if we get the magnet and rub it all over the wall, eventually it will stick like that. So we'll just get another one and try going a bit lower down, and there we've got another one. And then another one. So it's quite obvious that there's a stud running down the wall there, and the magnets are sticking where the actual screw heads or nail heads are positioned. So if you could actually take a look inside the stud position wall, it'd look something like this. So as you can see, that's the stud, and they will be placed at approximately every 600mm. So 600mm away from that, you're going to have another stud, and then that's the actual plasterboard itself. So for this demonstration, we're going to fix this angle bracket onto the wall. So if you wanted to fix it there, it's an absolute piece of cake. All you actually need is a wood screw. So we can just take the screw and the bracket, position it there, and screw straight in. And that is now firmly fixed because we've screwed it directly into the stud that's behind the plasterboard. And these are a very common fixing for plasterboard, and they have got several different names. The last time I looked at them, they were actually called ready drivers, but you can get them in metal or plastic, and they come with a self-tapping screw. So I actually screw that part into the plasterboard, and then you get your item and you fix it using the self-tapping screw. You don't want to use these on a plasterboard wall that's got masonry behind, because what will happen is that bit there will hit the masonry and it won't be able to go any further, and then that bit will start screwing into the plasterboard and it'll make a horrible mess of your plasterboard. So it's essential that you only use these on a stud partition wall or on plasterboard that's been fixed to battens, and then you've got a gap at the back for that part to actually fit into. So these are one of the quickest and easiest ways of getting a lightweight fixing into plasterboard, and all you need to use is a screwdriver or a drill driver to drive it in. So we've got a good fitting bit for the drill driver, so we can just put that on there, and then we can just drive that straight in, and it will make its own hole, so there's no drill bit needed. And then when that's in position, we can just take our bracket and our screw, and then we can just screw that into the fixing. So that's another way of fixing to plasterboard. Although these are only a lightweight fixing, you wouldn't really use these for fixing anything heavy. Another way of fixing to plasterboard is by using a spring toggle. And a spring toggle passes through the hole, and then once it's through the hole, the tabs at the back spring out and they grip on the actual plasterboard. But before you can use these, you need to drill an hole. So I'm just going to enlarge this hole a little bit, and you don't need to use hammer action when you're drilling through plasterboard, obviously. One thing when you're using a spring toggle is that you need to get your bit that you fasten into the wall on the toggle before you actually insert it. So all we need to do is screw that on there, fold the tabs over and push it through the hole. And in order to get the spring toggle to bite on the back, you sometimes have to pull the item that you're fixing forwards a bit. So I'll just do that, and as you can see it's now biting. So that has now bit, and that is a fairly strong fixing in there. The only disadvantage with these is if you come to take it out at a later date and you think, oh, I'll just take it off temporarily, you've then lost your fixing because it will have dropped down the back, so then you've got nothing to fix to anymore. So that's one of the downsides of using spring toggles. And now this is my personal favourite. This is the snap toggle, and it's extremely difficult getting hold of these in the UK. They used to sell them quite widely at Screwfix and B&Q, but now they're very difficult to get hold of for some reason. But I managed to get this pack of 10 off eBay. So these are under the snap toggle hollow wall anchors, and you can see there that it'll hold up to £265 in 1/2 inch drywall. So these have a phenomenal pull out force. So firstly you need to drill an hole which needs to be 13mm or 1/2 inch for this particular size of snap toggle. Once you've got your hole, it's very easy. All you need to do is turn it like that, push it through the hole, and then pull it back on itself. And then just slide that plastic bit down until it fits in the hole that you've drilled. And then all you have to do is bend off the plastic strips until they break. So once you've got it, all you need to do is get your item and just screw that directly into the snap toggle. And there you go, they are an incredibly strong fixing for plasterboard. And the beauty of the snap toggle is you can remove the screw and the hole will actually still be there. So you've still got the threaded hole. So if you need to remove something for decorating, you can remove it and then put it back again afterwards.